Okay, I just got back from my first recon lap up Fraser Mountain, which is the trail I'm planning on doing my Everesting attempt on, and I have to admit that I'm a little bit discouraged.
Hi team, I'm Sid.
And I'm Macky.
For the past 6 years, we've been racing mountain bikes professionally.
And living out of our van.
On this channel, we're sharing those adventures with you.
All of them.
So hit subscribe and join the team.
It turns out that it is not a 3,000 foot climb, it is a 2,500 foot climb, which means instead of having to do 10 laps, I have to do 12 laps. It also took me longer to get up than I thought it was going to, only by 5 minutes, but 5 minutes, 12 times is an hour. So that's adding an hour to my time, in addition to the fact that I have to do 2 extra laps. If I can pull an hour and a half laps, which is, I think, optimistic, 12 laps, that's 18 hours. That's a long time.
I mean, I was thinking if it is like 18 hours that you're projecting, that we need to be super dialed. We'll figure out a way to have the food so dialed that you can eat on the bike. The only time you should be stopping is to use the bathroom.
Yeah.
If it's a number 2.
Yeah.
You can pee off the bike too.
I think I'll probably stop to pee.
Don't triathletes do this? Come on, do you want it or
I
not?
think triathletes pee themselves.
Yeah.
I don't really want to pee myself.
I have now done a couple of laps on Fraser, but each time it has just been 1 lap. I actually did one yesterday. I rode from the house, climbed up the Tuskegee Valley Road, up to Fraser, and then back down. I think it totaled 4,000 something feet of climbing. Maybe, I think it wasn't quite 5,000. But today I am planning on doing my first multi-lap of Fraser in one day, and I'm riding from the house. So I suspect it will be about 7,500 feet. My dad and Sid are gonna meet me up there with the e-bikes and ride one of the laps with me. So last time I mentioned that I was pretty discouraged. I have to admit that I'm a little bit discouraged because it looked like it was only 2,500 feet from the base to the top of Fraser. So I was gonna have to do 12 laps on Fraser. When I rode it yesterday, I actually checked. The base of the house ski valley was saying 9,450, and then the top of Fraser says 12,150. So that's 2,700 feet. If it's a 2,700 foot climb, I can do it in 11 laps instead of 12 laps. But today, before I head up there, I'm going to swap my chainring and my rotors, because that's sort of the thing that I found the hardest on both of the times I've been up there. Is the gearing is just a little bit hard for some of the really steep sections, and it's fine for just 1 lap. It's going to be very hard for 11 laps. So put a smaller chainring on there, and then coming back down, you go really fast. You descend like 2,500 feet in less than 15 minutes, or right about 15 minutes. So I figure if I'm gonna do that, I wanna make sure my bike deals with the descent really well. And since this bike is very much set up for XC, it's got small rotors and 2 piston brakes. So I'm gonna put 180 mil rotors on instead of 160, and hopefully that will make the difference for the descending, a little bit less brake fade, a little less brake noise. All right, bike is all ready to go. I've got a 32 tooth on the front, which looks really small. I've got my 180 mil rotors, front and rear. My bike is ready to go. The question is, am I ready to go? I'm going for the Scratch Super Fuel mix again. This was actually before they announced it, so that's why it says prototype, but it's the same stuff. You put in 7 scoops in a bottle of water. It's basically providing lots of calories, so I've been trying that out because I suspect I will be using this for the Everesting challenge. You can see the Rock Melons all loaded up with the 2 e-bikes. They're gonna drive up and meet me. I am riding the Rocket. Time to go. I need to make sure to remember to burn in my brakes on the way down the road. Also, my legs are really tired already, which is too bad because I just started. All right, brakes are feeling pretty good. Well, I gotta say that it is not nearly as efficient climbing this road on a mountain bike. And this is a very efficient mountain bike with XC tires that roll really well. But man, it is a lot slower than doing it on my road bike. I think that was 42, 43, something in that range to get up here, which is not bad, especially considering it's like less than a third of what I have to do today. All right, we've got Sid in front of me. My dad is about to pass me. Elevation here, which is where I'm gonna start for these Everests, is 9430, according to my GPS. So let's hit the lap button, get an idea. 9430, and I've climbed 1825. Look at the Bambi. Oh, that's a little one. It's so little. When I'm actually doing my Everesting, I am not gonna go this way because this next climb, Chipmunk Lane, is brutal. No, I think it's gonna be just as short distance-wise the other way with a less heinous climb. But I knew my dad wanted to do this one, so. So steep, which you obviously can't tell looking at those two, but it is. It's also really gravelly. Just broke 10,000 foot mark, which means I only have 2,000 more feet to go. This right here is called Big Daddy, and it's gonna be really hard, especially on the last couple laps. This was the other reason that I decided I needed a smaller chainring, which I'm glad I have on here, but I will admit, it still doesn't feel nearly as easy as you might hope. Also doesn't help that it's kind of loose. So this is the spot. I'm trying to decide if I should go up the road or up the drainage trail here. I think I'll try drainage trail on my next lap and see how much of a difference it makes. What? It's nice to have company. It's a little demoralizing when you guys go blowing by me like I'm not moving, but sort of like that. That's demoralizing. So this was just a perfect example of why you get sub-perfect readings with GPS units. My GPS, maybe 2 minutes ago, was saying I was at 11,111 feet. Now it says I'm at 11,050 feet. So it's saying I've lost 60 feet, despite the fact that I have been climbing the entire time. And I think what it is that the temperature and barometric pressure both dropped. So it thinks I'm, or has, I guess the barometric pressure has changed, hasn't necessarily dropped. So it thinks that I'm going down in elevation, despite the fact that I'm going up. Now it's saying 11,023 feet. A little demoralizing.
this is where what I consider the hardest part of the climb starts. Because while it is double track, it's a really rough double track. And it's hard to decide which side to be on. And it's just rough enough that it's hard to keep like a steady cadence. Instead, your bike wants to stall out on the holes, which really jams you when you're trying to pedal up it nice and smooth. Just put the shock in middle mode because it helps with these bumps. And I think this left side's gonna be better. All right, this is where you get your first glimpse of the top. Way up there. Just past 12,000 feet. It's about 12.1, 12.1 and a half, something like that. All right, that's lap number 1. Time to turn around and go do it again. Oh man, there's nothing like descending 2,700 feet and then turning around and starting to climb again to make your legs feel terrible. I'm gonna take a slightly different route to see if there are ways that I can save myself some time or some effort. First thing is I'm not going down or up Chipmunk Lane because I don't think distance-wise or time-wise it really saves me anything. And that steep part is nasty. Instead, go a little bit past it to the Phoenix switchback, which is what I just took, because the grade is a lot more reasonable. Given that I'm doing 11 laps, I want them to be as efficient as possible because I'm already looking at probably over 16 hours of bike time, which is kind of a lot. Oh yeah. So this is the other spot, or one of the other spots, that I'm considering doing a different route up this thing, which obviously is a hike-a-bike. And the rules for Everesting is that you're not supposed to hike your bike, obviously, because it's supposed to be a riding challenge. But I'm gonna email the people in charge of the Everesting challenge and find out if like this is an acceptable one, because I think I only gain maybe 20 feet of elevation and it'll save me multiple minutes, I'm pretty sure, which when you're doing 10 laps adds up. And I feel like it's still in the oh man, I'm having a hard time with words. It's like still embodies the challenge. because it's not like I'm riding or walking because I am too tired. It's that that part is just not rideable. So cross your fingers for me that they are cool with that, because that would save me a solid bit of time throughout the day. This is also the way I want to come down, and you're supposed to go up what you come down. So it's another good reason to go up it if I can. All right, back to Big Daddy. Granny gear. Man, that is gonna be really, really hard 11 times. I admit, getting a little bit worried because I'm pretty tired. This is only my second time at Fraser. This is the other spot that I'm gonna try taking single track. It is called Drainage Ditch, I think, or maybe the Drainage Trail, something like that. I'll have to see if the extra force required to climb it, because there are some real steep parts, is worth the time gained. Man, that's hard. It's gonna be hard to do a lot of times in a row too. All right, so far, I'm thinking this would be worth doing, but I think it may get steeper still. Man, this way is pretty hard. And that, there's no way I'm riding up it. That took an hour 11. Man, not as fast as I was hoping. Oh well, let's rip a descent.
Wow. Yep. That was a hard one. Let's see. It says 46 miles, 5 hours, 14 minutes, 3,100 calories, average speed 8.5, max 35, total ascent 7,600. So that's pretty good. That's almost 3 laps worth. I think 3 laps would be 79. The changes I made on the bike I think worked really well. The bigger brake rotors helped. I felt like there was more braking power. I'm glad I made those changes. I'm glad I'm sort of getting to know Fraser better, but man, it's getting real.